Hey, welcome to Blacks in the West Part 3. Now, usually when we think of the 1920s, we're thinking about the Harlem Renaissance. But you see, in Los Angeles, we had Central Ave. That was our Harlem. And at Central Ave, that was our musical and economic, cultural hub. That's where everything happened. That's where everybody was. At one time in LA, black people weren't confined to one space. But as more and more people came, segregation intensified. Running in contrast to the cultural prosperity that happened in the 20s was Corrigan v. Buckley, a court case that said that racial covenants were okay, that they were legal. So many people, if you look at your original deed and depending on what neighborhood you grew up in, you'll find that the racial covenant is still written to the deed. It's a legal agreement saying you will never sell your house to a black person, even if you could afford to live somewhere else. You had to live in a segregated space. So over and over again, black people try to break these barriers. One of the first ones in LA was this neighborhood called West Adams. That's right over by USC. West Adams was a place for white, wealthy people. The 1930s hit a lot of people, hit everybody hard, the Depression. What ends up happening is that Black Hollywood tries to move into West Adams, and they rename it Sugar Hill. One of the most famous people that moved to Sugar Hill was Hattie McDaniel. She's the woman who was the first black person to get an Oscar, and she was in Gone with the Wind. She said, "I'd rather play a mammy than be a mammy." Right? She was cool. SGRO, give y'all props. So in the 1940s, Sugar Hill was a huge win for the black middle class. And it was kind of this wave towards ending racial covenants. So by 1948, Supreme Court case Shelley v. Kraemer bans restrictive covenants and says, you can't have an agreement. Now, there's other ways that they promoted segregation. Even though in 1948 racial covenants end, it's coupled with the Housing Act of 1949. If a government official comes and declares this house or this neighborhood a slum, it can be cleared for a government project. Especially in California, we're a place of highways. They built the highways so the white people that moved to the suburbs could get to the downtown locations for work. So these highways were built straight through black neighborhoods very strategically. The 10 freeway was built right through West Adams. So it separated West Adams Heights from Sugar Hill, right? So it went right through the black middle class neighborhood. Finally, this was also coupled with redlining. The idea that black neighborhoods and multicultural neighborhoods are bad risks for lending. You guys are in the red area. That's what we call redlining. It's hard to buy homes then if you can't get a loan. But it's also hard to get home improvements. So when you have slum clearance going on and you can't improve your home if it really was a slum, and many times it wasn't, what do? You're out of luck. And that's why urban renewal became synonymous with Negro removal and is what we refer to in the common era when we talk about gentrification.